Sadness is often one of the most universal emotions, but it's also often one of the most avoided. So we will all feel sad at some point, and there's no exceptions to that. But we live in a culture that treats sadness like it's a problem to fix, or a mindset failure, or something we should skip over as quick as possible. Now, we're often told things like, cheer up, or be positive, or focus on what makes you happy. Because really, we're told, we need like a motivational quote or an ice cream just to solve our sadness, or maybe both of them at once. And while these people are well-intentioned, the message often comes at a cost. And that cost is living as our true self. Because to live as our true self, we must learn how to not only pursue happiness, but also to allow sadness to exist. So sadness exists for a reason. Just as pain alerts our body to injury, sadness can alert us to loss, disconnection, or an unmet truth. Now, sadness sits on the opposite end of the spectrum from happiness. So without it, happiness would be flat, meaningless, and undefined. Kind of like having maybe a Coke without bubbles, or going to the movies without popcorn. So sadness helps us to recognize what matters, what we value, what we've lost, or what we long for. It kind of acts as an emotional compass, guiding us towards what feels true and away from what feels wrong to us personally. So through sadness, we can learn both what kind of life we do want and also what kind of life we don't want. From a conditioning or our egoic mind, sadness, it often sees sadness as like weakness, maybe as failure, something to get rid of, or proof that something's wrong with us. The ego really, what it does then is it tries to control sadness because of that. So it tries to control it by distracting us, numbing us, overthinking, problem solving as much as we can, or judging ourselves in the emotion, or searching even for instant solutions. It kind of treats overall sadness like a problem to be solved. But when we can't solve the problem, what can often happen is we get stuck in sadness, and we'll replay losses, we'll ruminate, we'll feel disappointed, we'll get a victim or self-pity mentality, and then the heaviness becomes a default lens that we see the world through then. So we just see things, only the rainy clouds, and forget where the sun is. And then we miss the whole view because we just get lost in that sad perception. So sadness is something we're meant to have, but not meant to be there as a permanent roommate. Generally, it's meant to be there as a visitor. And if it's unprocessed or poorly processed, then it doesn't disappear, and it just stays. And what it can turn into is numbness, chronic fatigue, irritability, anxiety, depression as well. But when we allow sadness, what that can do is restore flow and open space for more clarity, more direction towards happiness. But sadness isn't just a name, it's actually a physiological response in our body too, and it usually comes in the form of heaviness in our body, slower movements, reduced energy and motivation, maybe chest aches or pains, tears or pain or pressure behind the eyes, and just a desire to withdraw or be still. And these sensations are there for a reason, they're intentional. And they're there to help us slow down so that our mind can reflect. So sadness is kind of like our body's way of forcing us into a mini retreat, whether we like it or not. And this reflection allows sadness to be felt fully. And feeling allows the emotion to release. Because sadness isn't meant to be avoided, it's meant to be felt through. One of the other key roles of sadness is emotional release. So when the emotion is allowed to arise without feeding it stories or resisting it, then the emotion actually purges all by itself. The pain purges. It's kind of like why it feels good when we cry. And this is why grief often softens over time, because we've allowed some of the sadness out. But there are no shortcuts or magic to this. There's no instant fixes. It's usually time and allowing are the medicine. And sadness is also guides us towards action. Sometimes it points us towards things we want to move towards. So moving towards meaning, connection, purpose, and honesty, towards change. And if we suppress sadness even then our options actually narrow. But when sadness is allowed, then those choices to move towards those things returns. So the true self doesn't try to eliminate sadness. What it does is it listens to it. It asks, what am I grieving? Is there a truth surfacing right now? What matters here? Do I need more time? Is it something more that I want, or something I want to move towards? Sadness can also create a window as an opportunity to shift our perceptions and thoughts. So it can allow us to see where our thinking has been misaligned with our true self. Now, often we might judge ourselves too harshly or judge the situation in a way that keeps us feeling sad. Now, we might be clinging to outcomes that don't matter or reacting from our old patterns instead of our inner guidance. And in this case, sadness can become an opportunity to pause, reflect, and adjust our perception to one that's more peaceful and aligned with our truth. In that moment, we recalibrate our mind to align with our true self, without forcing it or pretending to feel we're okay. So if sadness is present right now, just pause. You don't need to fix it, fully understand it, or push it away. But you can ask, what is this sadness asking me to grieve? Can I respect its role in releasing emotional pain? Is this sadness possibly helping me to move towards something that makes me happier? So maybe think of sadness sometimes as your body's personal GPS. Sometimes it takes you off-road, but sometimes you go off-road and you can lead to the better destination. So when you allow sadness to exist, you move more towards wholeness. And within that wholeness, the door to greater happiness naturally opens up.